Hello, everyone. Today with me in the studio, I have Gary Markwick. Gary, it is so wonderful to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me. It's really a pleasure to be here and to contribute anything I can towards the session.
Wonderful. I am very much looking forward to this conversation. We've spoken so many times before, and you always bring so much wisdom and enlightenment to conversations. I'm excited to share you with the listeners and the viewers. So before we get into the conversation, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, so funny enough, I come from my mother and grandfather, but he was my grandfather many years ago. He was born in Edinburgh. He left home when he was 12, joined the circus, went to sea, and he became the British Houdini. He used to get out of chains and straitjackets and dive into icy cold waters. He became a magician. He put my mother on stage with palmistry and mind reading, which is kind of an act as well. I always watched them, for many years as a child. They always told me they could heal, and I said, "Well, how?" I never found the evidence or anything on that. Even with the palmistry, which I do, I taught myself that. But I used to watch them, so there was always this kind of spiritual sort of energy in that. My mother was a very spiritual person anyway, and I always believed somehow as a child, even at a young age, I wanted to help people. When you're very young, you haven't got a clue, and sometimes you go off the rails a little bit. You go in that direction, that way. But it's quite often you will come back to the full circle, and that's what happened to me. So years later, I used to write songs with my partner. We played for festivals, and even that was kind of a spiritual energy. I was always trying to get my songs out on a spiritual path, a very difficult path. That was anyway. So many years later, I did a Reiki course, Reiki healing, and it was like the heavens opened up. It was very strange. It was something I found. I found a tool to be able to help other people. And that was quite amazing because I was totally oblivious to it before. Maybe I had ideas, but I wasn't really sure. So this was really powerful for me. That was a journey 22 years ago, I guess. And I've been kind of healing and teaching since that time. Then after that, I took courses on hypnotherapy, past life regression, EMDR, which is quite effective in that, Road to Law of Attraction workshop. I'm on my fourth book, but my first book is 12 years ago I wrote, which is a very powerful book for kind of everything's in that with healing and bringing things towards us. I just completed a course on tuning forks, which is a sound healing, very popular at the moment. So this works on the frequencies of the body and the aura and everything like that, the auric field. So this is contributed. So when I'm healing with Reiki, I will use these forks as well. I use this Tibetan healing bowls as well. So it's all like it's kind of like add-ons, really, to wherever I'm going. The main purpose is to be able to help others in any way I can. But these are my tools at the moment, and this is where it's brought me to this present time in here now. I could probably go on with other things, but that's probably about it, really.
Right. So I guess we are going to talk a little bit about some of these tools and Reiki in particular and the tuning forks and stuff. But maybe tell us a little bit more Reikis and what was that, mind-blowing situation that surprised you by it?
Well, it's kind of strange. I learned the Reiki level. I teach all levels of Reiki to the master teacher. The level 1 and 2, I learned it at the college in Hertfordshire, Barnet. And it was a bit disjointed, there's 16 people. And we had different times, we had private sessions, and I learned the Reiki master teacher. The teacher actually came to the house, and I felt that was more fulfilling, it was more personal, and I kind of learned a lot more from that. But the actual initial thing, which got me, kind of surprised me at the time, as I was giving the healing to somebody else who was learning, that student, I saw this I thought my hands were on fire. it was like smoke was coming up. It's the ether, and it was coming up, the energy and that. And it's only happened to me about a few times before, but it's that kind of auric field as well, and that was kind of coming up, and I said, wow, this is what is going on. Like, I hadn't got a clue really. But since then, it's helped people, and it can do much. And that was I guess that was the initial opening of what really surprised me and that. But I guess, like when we heal other people, everybody's different, everyone's individual, and we can never expect what should be the outcome of that, the results. That's why we have to have an open mind on this. But most people walk away feeling so light and good. And even if that does that, how they feel, that's a big part going forward. Whatever it may show as well, So that was my initial stage, as far as I can remember on that. It was like an awakening.
Yeah. And I guess the question I have is, when someone comes to you, how do you know where to start working with them? What do you see or feel about the energy and energy field? And
good question, Einav. I mean, I am clairsentient. I do feel things, and I can pick up the energy. I'm not a medium, and I think sometimes we have to be careful. So there's a fine line with that, becoming a medium when we're giving the healing and telling certain clients how things are really, because it is our job, as a Reiki healer, to concentrate on the healing and be open to the results and that, without expectations. Now, the intention is the greatest thing. The power of intention is the greatest thing, because our greatest intentions is to want to give the best healing to that person. There are certain positions with Reiki. There are many different healings out there and that, and different ways, but it all comes down onto the same kind of roof, really. It's the energy healing. And there are certain positions. If I'm teaching Reiki, I'll show how to use these positions, which has passed right back from a Dr. Usui, Japanese Buddhist monk. He developed this, and it's progressed. So when I'm giving the healing, I try to be open as much as possible. I kind of channel the energy there, like an energy healing, spiritual, whatever you like to call it, with open with God, the universe. Giving the healing, I will just kind of feel my way through gently with the set positions or standard. Nothing's on. There's no rules. You can change positions, whatever it is. I'll spend more time on some positions. So if I feel the energy is, even though Reiki will give the correct amount of healing, sometimes I may spend more time on certain parts of the body. If I feel a blockage perhaps in the chakras and stuff like that, maybe I'll work a little bit more on that one. This includes with the tuning forks as well, especially that can be. I spiral all the old energy out, bringing the new energy back in, aligning the chakras as well. I'm kind of, it's intuitive. It's intuitive. What I've learned is there, and many other people, but the rest is intuitive, and the intention, and that's the most important thing, because it is our so important to want to give that healing in the best results. But having said that, again, we cannot always expect the outcome, even though miracles have happened, but we cannot expect the miracles. They do happen though. It probably happens when we least expect them.
Yeah.
So the energy is there.
And do you see different kind of blockages depending on what the person is going through or suffering from, or
do you know what? It's a good question. We are results from our past, like I said, and maybe it's even past lives, the memory in the cells, and carries on through generations, ancestry, right to this present time. Again, I would always say at least 70% are quite often mental, emotional issues, where eventually it goes into the physical body. So this can also be the case and that kind of thing. Yeah. unfortunately, there's a lot of stress out there. There's a lot of anxiety, and we all need to work on ourselves as well, because this is, it's so important to spend time on ourselves, to give our self-healing, whether it's Reiki or anything else, just meditation to calm that mind and body and spirit. This is the most important. So it all works together, really, I think. But keeping things simple. There's a lot of complications out there. We don't need to keep it. We don't need to be complicated. We need to keep things simple. It's not easy, but with practice we can do this. We can. Meditation's a great one. I became a meditation teacher, but I haven't used it too much in the sense of with other people, a little bit, but it's all one energy and it all works together. And with a healthy mind, could be a healthy body. Right?
Yeah. So I guess there's something that is coming up for me that I kind of maybe want to explore, because really knowing you and how spiritual you are, what can we share with our viewers? Something from how do you approach spirituality? Why is it important to talk about spirituality? What comes up for you when I'm asking these questions? Because I have this feeling all of a sudden that this is what I'm supposed to be asking.
Maybe so. It's a good question, maybe a difficult question, because I always say the truth is here. A truth, whatever truth, it's here, it's within. And people ask me sometimes, clients and that, they say, young girls and how can I develop my spirituality? How can I be spiritual? And I said, well, it's already there. And you have all the resources within. And even when I'm giving readings of palmists, I said, I'm just bringing it to the surface, to the conscious mind, to help you to realize. And you say, yeah, that makes sense. I can move on from this, But I think we're all spiritual beings, We just come down for a little bit of learning. My new book's called Earth School. This is the ground, the teaching school. We go back up again, perhaps come back down again, learn a little bit more, hopefully. But we're all spiritual beings, I believe, and it's good or bad within us all. And we have a choice, we do have choices. I always say, some people ask me, is it destiny, fate? Perhaps that exists as well. Everything exists. But I say, maybe it's like a path. There's your destiny, maybe what we were given. But in between that, it's a little playground, making choices. I always say, we can have that choice. So the spirituality is there. It's simple, but we have to take time. And unfortunately, the world is a bit crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on. We're moving faster with technology, and it's hard to keep up with it, especially as you get older. We've got to relax. We've got to give ourselves, if you gave yourself 10 minutes a day, just to tune in to that energy, it can do so much. It can really elevate. It can make you feel so good, and that, it's so important. I mean, I always say to people when I'm teaching Reiki and things like, and it's so easy to get caught in four walls and see nothing, working and being busy. Break it, go out for a walk and appreciate the colors of everything, enjoy and wake up to it all, and that, because it's easy to get distracted from these kind of things. So I would say, spirituality is a very simple thing, but it's like anything really, whether it's a muscle of the brain, a muscle of the inner heart, and that, the higher self. It's important that we need to spend time. We all do get distracted. It's not easy. I know that path as well, even for myself, and I get busy, but keep things simple. Work on yourself in any way you can. If you're willing to be open, if you're willing to open up to any kind of spirituality, it will come. It will be given. It will definitely be given. Ask and it shall be given.
Yeah. And how can we help people that are going through the cancer healing journey? And maybe there's, because what you said, right, that maybe 70% of everything starts in the mental, emotional, and then manifests itself in the physical body. And what can we say to people that really believe or feel that actually it's all about the physical body? What can we say or help? How can we help them to open up that maybe there's a little bit more than just the physical?
Yeah, it's just difficult. I've had people with clients with cancer, and some maybe we don't always know their true spiritual beliefs and that. Sometimes people don't open up to it. Um, we can only plant the seed and let it grow. It's everyone's choice and that. But we have planted some kind of seed there, and everything happens for a purpose and a reason. And hopefully, it is time to acknowledge whatever it may be that's been given to us, because there are always lessons and there's always messages there. Whether it's somebody else that gives us a book and says, "Oh, I know, have you read this book?" And you may see the title, just what you needed at the time. Someone might say a word to you, and and it's there. The answer's there when we're open to it. And sometimes we do get, unfortunately, a little bit of a push to awaken us and that. So it's very difficult, with some people with physical illnesses, because they're going through a hard time, and for the families, for themselves, and everything. And we can only be kind, we can only be gentle, we can only do what we do, and help them in any way we possibly can. And I'm sure they will understand that and appreciate it, and that. But yeah, I mean, that's all I could say, really. We can only do what we can do and what we are capable of doing at the time. We're given what we can't take on more than we're ready for. We're given what we need at the time, and that's with every individual, every human being. When we meet them, and that, we've all got a message for each other in some ways, whether it's whether we get into conflict with them or a great friendship, and that there's always a message there. And it's kind of maybe walking away and saying, is there anything I need to learn about that? Is it teaching me something about myself? Because we're all teachers with each other. We're all mirror reflections. And but to give the best is coming from the heart. It's not coming from here. Maybe this could confuse you. This may give you a bit of truth from that. Simplicity again.
So I want to go back to all of the tools and methods that you're using. Maybe not all of them, because I know that you have quite a few of them. But I want to open up a little bit about, again, going back into the Reiki and the energy healing, and how does it actually work, the energy healing? I mean, I know I use energy healing in my work, and there's so many different modalities, but a lot of people actually don't really understand how energy healing works. How would you explain that to them?
Well, quite very difficult, actually. So, again, bring it back to simplicity. We're all energy. Everything is energy. When I show people, well, with Reiki, I'm just showing them teaching them rather, showing them how to open up to that energy, kind of like treat it like you're a hollow tube almost. And I wouldn't say, we are the healers. I'm a great healer. This is the ego coming in. We're just doing what we're doing, and we're just showing how to open up that energy and let it come through into the recipient, into the person, and give that. So we're all energy. Everything is energy. And as it can't be destroyed, it can only be transformed, and that. So everything exists. And I think, there are many different kind of healings out there, different methods and that. But again, it's all one energy. It's just how we're tapping into that energy with tools and that. Some people may be a little bit more advanced than others. But then again, it's not for us to judge. We're just doing what we're doing, really. So energy, yeah, it's everything is energy. I mean, people say, well, how can I give distant healing now? How could that possibly work? How does a television work? How does a mobile phone work? It's kind of like it's all energy. It's all frequencies, actually, radio frequencies, whatever it is, and that higher frequencies. Even in dreams, their frequencies on the alpha plane, whatever it is. So yeah, I guess maybe I should have a bit more knowledge, or maybe I'm not speaking to the full extent here, but that's wrapping it up again in a small, like a nutshell, I suppose. Yeah.
It is interesting, I think, with energy healing that when tap into it, when you learn a little bit, whichever modalities that you're using, and you can see, you feel things that maybe other people, they're not aware of, and so for us, that we use these modalities to, part of what we do.
Yeah,
We kind of have less questions than maybe people that don't. But I really like that sometimes, I work with people to find their blockages, right? Things that are blocking the energy field. um, and I know that it doesn't really matter, right, if it's actually emotion that is trapped, or if it's other blockages in the energy field. As long as there's a blockage, it is going to interfere with your life. So
sure.
now let's clear that. Let's make it a little bit better. And what you said earlier about the no expectation, I think, is very important.
Yeah. Yeah, I think many things do result from even childhood, but even maybe beyond that, like I said, going way back, because we're here, we are results and we're from the past, and we just carry on. There's blockages and that, and they maybe build up kind of like a pile of office papers sometimes. So this is why it's so important to deal with things in the present time if we can do that, to be able to release things and that, because it's so easy. I mean, maybe it's not so much these days, a little bit, because we're more open. We do tend to talk about things more. But if you go back a few years and that, it was like, get on with your life. Don't talk about stiff upper lip and carry on like that. And so therefore we repress and many things and that kind of thing. On that
But
level.
you say about being in the present moment, but I was going to just ask you about hypnotherapy, and actually also touch on past life, because I imagine that sometimes as you do hypnotherapy, you accidentally, or people might accidentally go into past lives. Um, so
Yeah.
how does that work?
Well, I do keep that separate. Funny enough, in my new book is about past lives, and it talks about the client, which it's a little bit of fiction here, but documented as well. She keeps slipping into, and I did have one client like that. So every time I gave her hypnotherapy, it was for fear of moths, lepidoptera, and she kept slipping into past lives, and that kind of thing, with these big eyes and that around her. Very interesting. But most people, if I'm giving hypnotherapy for anxiety, we will keep into the present time, and that there are different methods and that. But even that, I would take them age regression, or taking them back to the time where it may have first began in this life, and that. Some people do come to me for past lives, and we usually go through, if they're kind of open, not too analytical, and they may be imaginable as well, allowing things to whatever comes towards them. We can go for up to about 3 lives and that. And people have had some very interesting lives and that kind of. It's not usually, it's quite different from what they've read in reading a book or watching a film and that. It's like it's their unique experience and that. It's a fine line whether you're open to it, belief and that. I think most religions have believed in some form of past lives and that. So it's always there, and so many children these days have. I mean, I've had clients that their children have actually talked about other lives and this kind of thing, not knowing it was a past life, but they've talked about other lives and that kind of thing. So definitely a lot of so-called evidence out there. But yeah, so it's a little bit different. If I'm giving hypnotherapy, it's usually for a problem in this time, but it all reflects to the past as well, and that. And yeah, we just gotta work with it, I guess. And that, but I mean, I always say now is the only time, and this is the only time. Past is gone, the future hasn't happened, but so this is the only time. But having said that, we are results from our past. So.
But what have you ever had people come to you specifically for hypnotherapy or past life regression that is really to looking for the reasons, or looking for clues to why they are suffering from cancer or other illnesses or conditions?
Yes, and sometimes some things are revealed. We cannot be totally sure with past lives, because if I take someone back in past life, how many lives did you have? You could have had hundreds, thousands, I don't know. So whatever shows up at the time, maybe is right, but quite often it shows up with sometimes like loneliness to do with families. I haven't had, as far as I'm aware, the illnesses haven't shown up too much in the past life, but other things have. But then again, it's not, I haven't experienced too much where people have had an illness like cancer and they've come specifically looking for that, because they may be obviously treating in the present time and that, so they're not necessarily looking for a reason for the past. So it's kind of given that healing, sorry, in the present time. But I don't know, because I think there's going to be a lot more people searching for reasons than that in the future. Actually, I'm just trying to think of anything that comes to mind. But so I mean, strange things have happened and that, and I can't recall anything at the moment. It's been a long journey over all those years and that. But it is mainly focusing on the present time. So, but I would agree totally that most things do come from our past, and that whichever past it is, and have an effect on the present time. That's for sure. Yeah.
I had a past life regression once, and it was very interesting because I did have expectation that it was going to be like some sort of a movie, and but I didn't know how it was going to happen. I was just very curious, and then when we done that, it wasn't at all that. It was just all of a sudden it was kind of a knowing. I knew that I was, I think I was a maid in some rich woman's kitchen or something, and so all of a sudden I just had this knowing of something. But even this series of images that I kind of got to know, they had a lesson for my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've had clients that have just seen colors, and I've kind of said, well, that color may mean this, and that color may mean that. And some people have had amazing colors, but nothing else. Or maybe they've been in the universe. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they never even had a past life.
Right.
A new soul. So, and I have experience with clients that they've, some have experienced just they've been in the universe and not touched the earth. All kinds of different things actually, which are probably relevant at the time and that.
Imagine how much pressure there is, right? As the first soul to come to Earth, it's feels like pressure.
There's one guy, and he could just see. He didn't know if he was a human, beast, or spirit. He could only witness landscape and colors. It was kind of like primitive Earth or something like that. But there were a lot of colors there, and that quite interesting actually. That was probably right for it. And he wanted to know about pyramids in Mexico, because not necessarily, I said, you've got to be very open. I said, we don't know what's going to come up. He touched the pyramids there, and something really happened, and he really got transpired in some way. But it didn't show up. It come up with all these colors, which was amazing. He was quite happy with that. It helped him in his journey on his journey. Yeah.
It's very interesting, right? When you have all of these different tools that you can use to help and help people get some insights into different questions and problems. So I want to go back to the tuning fork and the sound healing that you do.
Okay. I've been using tuning fork. Well, I've been using the Tibetan healing bowls for quite a few years actually. But I did a course not so long ago recently on tuning forks, and I have been using those for maybe over a year and that, but now I've gone more in depth in it and to learn about them, and they work off the etheric body, the auric field, and the physical body as well, and they work on frequencies. I'm not a scientist. There are different frequencies. I mean, one is called one is said to be the miracle cure, and can maybe possibly no evidence repair the DNA. from the past and that. So there's all these different frequencies and forks and that. I mean, sound healing seems to have become a very popular thing with sound bathing and other things like that. But these tuning forks, I work with them with the Reiki, and I find it's really effective, actually. I mean, I had 36 case studies to do, and recently, and I found evidence that people have really responded well to these forks and that. And I think it's a nice combination with the Reiki as well, and that kind of all blends in together, like that. So yeah, they're different forks, different frequencies, used at different parts of the body for certain illnesses and things like that. I mean, I've heard evidence with people. I can't say, people have had medical supervision, obviously, when they have cancer and things like that. But I know one thing for sure, that the Reiki and the tuning forks has helped a lot. Now, I have seen very positive evidence from that, but I can only say it does its work and it does what it's meant to do. You know what I mean? And even as a last resort, if it helps people to feel good and things like that, and gives them a little bit of a little bit of an extended life, even maybe, then that's amazing.
Yeah.
It does.
I think it's important to mention, and I always mention it in nearly all of the conversations I'm having, but that we're not saying, we're definitely not telling people, what if to use conventional methods or alternative ones, people need to do whatever is right for them.
Yeah.
But we are in the natural healing element. We are saying, hey, there's this, the element of complementary, healing, and actually, like you say, if someone is suffering from side effects and stuff like that, the healing, the alternative healing, the Reiki, and your methods, my methods, they can really help to alleviate, to make a difference. So
we're all working together, aren't we?
Exactly.
We're not trying to do something apart, different. We're all working together as one.
And I think this is important to mention that, because it's very important to mention that we're not giving people medical advice or telling people what to do, but we do know from what we've done and how we helped and worked with people, we can see results, we can see how the difference in how they're feeling, and this is what we want to bring forward, that hey, there is this side of things that you might want to try if this feels right.
Sure, yeah, and a lot of people are being very open towards the alternative therapies now, which is very,
But I do believe the people that are watching the summit, they're already in that mindset and understanding that there's multi layers to all of this. Be it cancer or any other condition, there's more than probably more than one thing that brought it together, and probably more than one thing that will help it to take it apart, really.
Yeah, I mean, we never know. Like I said, we never know the outcome. We can't expect. And I have been in that position where it was very hard to not be attached to somebody that had cancer when given the healing, and that was very. It went on for quite a few months, and it was quite a difficult process. And I learned a lot in the sense that we've got to be very open in all ways, and that, because I've seen results in many different ways and that kind of thing. And I think it's got to be open, but like I said, it's the intention. Our intention is to do great things, and hopefully, the results will be good. But we have to remain open, and obviously tell the client that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's also that thing of, every person has their own journey, and every person has their own time, and we just want to help as much as we can. But it's not, it's not our job to argue with their path, with people's paths and journey. So
we cannot interfere. Like Dr. Usui, who developed the Reiki, developed Reiki, went onto the mountain in Kyoto in Japan, became kind of enlightened, put 21 stones around 21 days, and a beam of light struck him on the head, and obviously became enlightened. But he, I lost the thought what I was going to say there, actually, sorry. He developed it. Oh, that's right. He searched for several years in the hope that there was some kind of process for healing, because the Buddhist monk said the spiritual is more important than the physical. So, they're just relying, which is maybe true in one sense, but he wanted something to be able to. So the Reiki was developed with the hand positions, taught to show us how we can, use that physical energy or transpire it from the spiritual energy into that one. So that's how it kind of developed on that level, in a sense, But the energy is there, whichever. The Reiki is just a tool. And, whether it's tuning forks, the Reiki, energy healing, Tibetan bowls, sound bowls, whatever, gongs, it's all one energy, isn't it? And we're just, what we're given at the time, maybe, what comes to us to be able to help others, or those that need healing, they will open up to those different methods as well, and that kind of thing. And that's nice. I mean, I wrote in that first book a shift. That was 2012, and I do believe there's a big shift now. With people being more open and maybe moving on. There's a lot of chaos out there as well, but we're opening up to become more enlightened as well. Yeah, and that's nice. So therefore, if we're like that, we're open to receive the healing more. Because we're removing the blockages as we become open. I do believe the belief is very important sometimes, but it's our choice again, and it's whatever. I think the Reiki works regardless of that, because animals can be healed, and that, maybe they're more spiritual beings than we are. But whatever it is, it works. It works.
Yeah, I mean, I don't use Reiki in my work, but I've always had very good things about Reiki, and there's definitely a sense of calm and lightness that people report after having Reiki done.
Well, what you do is great, and that, and it's all part of that process, isn't it? The energy healing and that, how you tap into it. It's amazing.
I mean, it's amazing to be able to do something. I think that's so it's not just the needs of the people, it's also the needs of our people, to help to do something to bring a little bit of lightness into the world.
Yeah, it's a gift to give it, and it's a gift to receive it.
Yeah, exactly.
The energy.
So Gary, we're nearly coming to the end of our conversation. What message would you like people to take away from our conversation today?
Well, I'd say be open to receive. Open to receive, open heart, and allow things to come. I do believe strongly in manifestation as well. And, if we ask and things, we cannot always be sure 100%, but keep things simple, work on yourself. What no longer serves a purpose in your life anymore, look at it for what it is. Do I need this anymore in my life? And be able to let it go. Because these are all the blockages, they're all the blockages of all the chakras, of the energy centers, whatever it is. So what you're feeling, within yourself, your body more than anybody else. So, and I'm not saying going against medical profession at all, it's just within yourself. But, feel what needs to be done, maybe what needs to change within yourself. It could be something very simple. That could be even the answer to healing and that kind of. So let's keep things very simple. Love is the greatest thing. Love is the conqueror of all. And sometimes when we get a little bit, upset from, emotional hurts and from others, whatever it is, if you can let go, if you can move on from it, you're being healed. Yeah. So keep it on a simple level as much as you can, basic level, but work from the openness. Believe that you are being healed as well. That will help a lot. Yeah.
Excuse me, the power of belief.
We could go on, but
No, but I think so. I believe in that as well. That yes, your belief is half the story, and some of us, I see it a lot. That people believe that they are, that they can't heal, or that they believe that there is a reason why they got this illness, and they accept it, and now it's a whole new blockage that we need to release.
yeah. Everything has its purpose, and unfortunately, it's not always pleasant, but it is what it is. And I do believe we can change a lot. We can work towards things as well.
Yes.
So,
Brilliant. Gary, it's been, I don't know, I feel like we can speak for hours, and it's been so lovely to chat with you. But before I say goodbye, I want to know, is there anything that we haven't spoken about that you feel actually, yes, that's important to bring up as well?
no, I don't think so. I mean, our journey is always ongoing as long as we're here, and I think the key is to be open, and that's how I look at life. A 90-year-old woman comes to see me. Can't remember, was it a few months ago? Came for a reading, and I said, "Wow, my God, what am I going to tell her?" And she sat down in front of me, and I looked on her hands, and I don't know. I said, "Something looks like it's really important coming up, very interesting." But she goes, "Oh, that's really good. I'll look forward to that." She hadn't closed down at 90 years old. She was still open to receive. And that is the key. Let's be open and receive. Negative, positive, whatever comes towards us, let's try to embrace the changes and deal with it the best way we can. I always feel myself when there's something negative happening. I was like, well, that's good. I wonder something positive is going to happen now. Yeah, but it's all balance. It's all a balance, and let's try to heal ourselves as much as we can.
Gary,
Thank you, and
thank you so much.
inviting me, and lovely to talk with you. And that's really, really good. And hope all goes well with everybody else.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Gary.
Take care.